Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show, Thursday edition, governance and policy as well as politics. Today we have a fully packed program which will be conversating with you, our dear viewers, on various issues. I'm not alone in the studio. I'm with my new co-host, Amazing Katamanda.
Good morning.
Good morning. How is it going?
Oh, well, it's going great. I don't know how it's going.
Interesting. Many people know you for usually just doing the gospel show.
Yes, the entertainment shows.
And what are we expecting this week?
Good music, of course. Yes, and lots of fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just now we are going to go straight into our first segment we call the Health Corner with the Medical Women Association of Zambia as they talk about the symptoms of burns. This is the subject we've been looking at this week. So stay tuned. We have a fully packed program for you, our dear viewers.
Good morning. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ. I'm working in University Teaching Hospital as a general surgeon. Yesterday we had a very exciting topic which we talked about burns. We talked about burns, we talked about introduction of burns, we talked about types of burns, we talked about the superficial types of burns, the burns which are a little bit deeper, and the really deep burns. So we've been talking about burns, and we're going to talk about burns this whole week because it's a very, very important topic, and we have noticed that we have a lot of people who are suffering from burns, accidents. It's quite devastating to lose people which we can actually avoid to lose them, you know. Yesterday we talked about classification of burns, we talked about causes of burns, we talked about what causes burns. So we talked about fire causing burns, we talked about porridge causing burns, hot water, especially most 90% burns take place majority of the time is at home during household works, and a lot of burns, we end up causing burns to our little innocent children, which we can avoid it. It's very, very sad to see our children going through these burns. Why should they go through these burns when we can protect them? And the saddest part is that when we see them go through the burns, some children, we actually lose them, which we are not supposed to lose children. We are supposed to look after them. We are supposed to ensure they are away from these household works. When you're cooking, make sure, please keep your children away. When you're bathing your children, please make sure that your water is not so hot. It's warm enough for you to actually bath the child, because a lot of times you find that you have filled up your bathtub with so much water which is really hot, and then you put your child without even testing that if that water is really hot or not, and that's how you end up burning the child. So please make sure that you avoid some of these things. So today we are going to talk about the symptoms of burns. So symptoms of burns, meaning what are the things that you need to look out for when you have burns. For example, if you have been burned, so please ensure that you stop doing whatever you're doing. Stop if there is fire in your house, if there is anything that has caught fire in your house, ensure that if you are getting burned, stop, drop on the floor and roll. Make sure that the moment you get burned, that is for high burns. But if you are cooking and for example you just suddenly got burnt with fire or something really hot, please ensure that you don't apply anything in there. Just go into the basin straight. Try to wash your hands for 20 minutes with normal room temperature water. You don't need to put hot water or cold water or any kind of water. Just put room temperature water, run it through your hand or any part of your body that has just been burned, and make sure that it runs for about 20 minutes. After that, please ensure that you go to your nearest health care. Do not we have noticed that people try to apply toothpaste, then certain traditional powders, chemicals. So please ensure that do not apply anything on that burn wound, and go to your nearest health care, and they will provide you the accurate type of burns that you have got and how to go about it and how to look after it. They will tell you how to do it. So when it comes to symptoms, again, we come to the types of burns we talked about yesterday. One of them was really superficial burns. So in superficial burns, it's more like a sunburn. It's more like quite superficial. It just burns part of your skin, which is superficial. So on that burn, when you go to the nearest health care, the symptoms you're going to feel really, it's really painful, and it becomes red, and it's very, very painful. So hence people end up applying, I have noticed that a lot of people apply Colgate there thinking that it will cool it down, but it's actually causing more harm to your wound. So what you need to do is just go to your nearest health care. In there, they are going to provide some sort of creams for you and how to clean the wounds for you, and your wounds are going to heal within 7 to 14 days if you follow the accurate protocols that you've been told by your health care. Then the second type of burns, unfortunately, that is quite deep. It forms blisters. It actually also goes slightly beyond the skin as well, deeper than the skin. So that burn is also very painful. It happens with also the same, like hot water, fire, hot oil, chemicals. In chemicals, we have two types of chemicals. We have acids and we have alkalines. So you find the ones which have been burnt with alkalines are even more damaging because it damages it takes a few days for it to damage. So it actually damages more of that area. So even in there, you'll find the symptoms. You'll find, for example, the patient will be so much in pain. Then the patient will not feel like moving the limb or the area that has been burned. Then the patient will lose a lot of fluids, because remember, your skin protects your whole body. It's the largest organ in your body, considered as the largest organ in your body. So you find that when you have skin loss, there's a lot of fluid that is coming out. So you find you find yourself getting very dehydrated, and so you need to seek immediate healthcare help. You need to go to the hospital. Do not apply anything in there. When you have gone through the burns, immediately wash yourself for 20 minutes. Prepare yourself, find transport, and go to the nearest health care, and you will be admitted there. They are going to look after your wounds and discuss the management, how you will be managed. So the second degree burns actually take a bit of time for it to heal, because it has caused quite a good amount of destruction into your body. So it takes a bit of time, and also totally it depends on the percentage. If it's a high percentage, then it takes a bit of time for you to heal, and for you to be completely in full form, it will take a bit of time. As I said, some of these things can be avoided just by taking precautions. Then the last type of burns, that is the third degree, that is really, really deep, and that's very devastating because it actually damages your bones, your muscles, very deep inside. Sometimes even your organs, it can go through your organs, especially electrical burns. Electrical burns, please ensure that sockets and electrical plugs keep your children away from those things. Make sure that you keep your children away from these open sockets, and keep yourself also away from these open sockets, because these electric shocks may be very dangerous to an extent that they may actually damage a lot of organs that we may not be able to do anything about it. So prevention is better than getting the cure. So ensure that you keep all these away from children, because when you get those deep burns, actually your symptoms will be like you'll have no feelings on your body, on that part of the body. If you have been burned on that area, it's going to look very white. It's going to be very deep. Whenever someone touches it, you will not feel anything. So even in those cases, make sure that you take yourself quickly to the nearest hospital, and the hospital will do their best to look after you and to do whatever requires to get you back to your form. So please ensure that we protect ourselves and our loved ones from these injuries, which is avoidable. Please continue watching Camnet TV with us. We'll be bringing you every day new different topics, new different things to discuss with, and every day you will be learning something new. We'll ensure that every day you are learning something new. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAS. I'm working from University Teaching Hospital, and I'm working as general surgeon. So please keep watching Camnet, because we'll be bringing you every day different exciting topics that you're going to learn, and you're going to make life better. We make life better together, and we make Zambia better together. So please keep watching.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and that was our first segment we call the Health Corner with the Medical Women Association of Zambia, and that was Dr. Masa explaining to us the symptoms of pains. Quite an elaborate subject there. She gave quite a number of insightful issues that you can do to understand the symptoms of pains, and we hope you managed to get abreast with what she said. And you can still follow in case you want to still get in tune to what has been said on our Facebook page by just following the breakfast show, and get to listen to whatever the doctors present. And just now we are going to understand how the Kwacha is performing, Katamanda, because the Kwacha has been doing pretty good of late. So we have to understand, as of Thursday, how is the Kwacha performing? Exactly. So we see what the Kwacha has in stock for us, and we saw its benefit yesterday, where we saw the ERB, the Energy Regulation Board, responding accordingly. Let's get that, so that yeah, the euro is buying at 15 kwacha 680 ngwe, and selling at 16 kwacha, and the Great British Pound is buying at 18 kwacha 21 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 57 ngwe. The US dollar is buying at 15 kwacha 6.9 ngwe and selling at 16 kwacha, and the South African rand rather is buying at 92 ngwe and selling at 94 ngwe. So those are your money markets. I hope you've managed to see for yourself how the Kwacha is performing, but it varies from bureau to bureau depending on also the financial institution that you are trading with, the value. But according to the institution we are following, those are your money markets. And so far we've seen that the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has responded accordingly by reducing the prices of fuel, Katamanda. Yeah. Are we also going to see the reduction in bus fares?
Well, hopefully, but then we saw the last time what happened when the prices were reduced. People didn't really accept, especially the bus drivers. There's still, but we're hoping that this time around they will agree to reduce the prices, and we're not going to see a case where the commuters being abducted or kidnapped. I hope we're not going to see that case.
Yeah, so but we just hope for the best. This is because it has been quite an issue, but with a 1 kwacha 15 ngwe reduction, 1 kwacha 17 ngwe reduction, I don't think we may see much of movement. I think it will remain the same, and I don't think they would agree to reduce. But if they say it's a reduction of 1-to-1, then we should be paying for 14 kwacha, because I understand from coming from the town to Kablonga, you have to spend the 15 kwacha. It is the same for many other routes, such as Chawama, Matelo, Mandevu. You have to spend that money. But I just hope if we are moving kwacha for kwacha, ngwe for ngwe, it is better. But I'm also seeing that the the kwacha has also lost a little bit of value, considering that it has been trading at selling at 15 of late, but now it is 16. It is at 16. So I don't know, the next monthly review that the ERB may be subjecting us to, we may see a different trajectory. We may see an upward adjustment, and that would be an welcome move, especially on the part of consumers, who are always against such interventions or maneuvers. And we are going to be zooming in some stories, but talking about the stories that we'll be zooming in, we have quite a number of topic of discussion that we have two issues that we are discussing. We are discussing the issue of the reducing fuel prices by the Energy Regulation Board, and that was yesterday. So we are getting your views as viewers on this issue, and Zambia getting the IMF bailout package, and just your thoughts on that, because others have been of the view that getting an IMF package is not good. Others of the view it is a good move. But however, the IMF package, according to the government, is like an insulator, or it is also going to help Zambia in terms of going towards the path to economic recovery. Much as it also comes with its consequences, because depending on the conditions which have been attached. So again, the Ministry of Finance today will be addressing the media to understand what are some of the conditionalities surrounding this IMF bailout package. These are issues that we'll be looking at for today, and we'll be covering this. It will be part of our main news at 19:30, so that you can also get to understand what are some of the conditions, because we remember that in the past IMF packages were said to be bad for the economy and not advisable. But also others have been of the view it's about how you manage your economy and your resources as a country for it to be beneficial to you. And others have also argued to say an IMF bailout package of the old days cannot also be likened to an IMF bailout package of modern days. So we are going to see those here from the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Zambia governor, as well as other financial players and representatives from the IMF as well, regarding how this package, what this package means for Zambia. What does it mean for you and I, Katamanda? So those are issues that we're going to be discussing this morning. You, our dear viewers, can give us your perspective on the IMF package, the reduction of fuel, and we'll be zooming in quite a number of stories today. And just to zoom in one of our first stories, we go to the story where former President Edgar Lungu's associate and proprietor of Ndozo Lodge Limited, Clint Sichamba, has told the Economic Financial Crimes Court that he is not capable of taking plea in the corruption case that the state has accused him of due to his illness. So Mr. Sichamba is jointly charged with his wife Dora Nambela and son David. Raised a preliminary issue Wednesday 31st August 2022 through his lawyer, claiming that he is unable to properly understand and interpret even if the state proceeds with the trial in the case. So we'll listen to that story. We'll be back on the other side.
Ndozo Lodge proprietor Clint Sichamba being assisted by his wife Edura Nambela and son David as they make their way inside one of the courtroom at the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Wednesday morning. The trio appeared before the Economic Financial Crimes Court this morning in relation to the corruption-related charges that the state accuses them of. Mr. Sichamba, who is former President Edgar Lungu's associate, was recently arrested by the Anti-Corruption Commission together with his wife and son over alleged corruption involving over 781 million kwacha and more than 10 million United States dollars. According to charges before court, the trio has been slapped with 15 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime, contrary to Section 71(1) of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010. However, Mr. Sichamba, who was scheduled to take plea this morning, has raised a preliminary issue through his lawyers before the matter could even proceed, contending that he is incapable of standing trial due to his illness. His defense lawyers have also submitted that he is unable to express himself in speech and have since produced a medical report from the University Teaching Hospital indicating that he is unable to properly understand and interpret language and unable to express himself in speech. Based upon this medical report, the defense have submitted while citing Article 18 of the Constitution, where the fairness will be if the court decide to proceed with trial in a situation where the accused is unable to understand anything due to his illness. However, the state has argued that the submission by the defense of incapacity has been raised too soon, adding that the accused, Mr. Sichawa, should proceed to take plea and trial commenced until its final determination. Further, that the submission that Mr. Sichawa is incapable of taking plea and is tripled to both his wife and son because they are jointly charged cannot be substantiated. Magistrate Irene Washimanga's reserved ruling to the 1st of September 2022. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. That's the story from the court that was done by Miriam Kaimba, our court reporter. And what are the other stories that we are zooming in, Katamanda?
Okay, so we have Boma Lusambo. And the story reads, the Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested former Lusaka Province Minister Boma Lusambo for electoral corruption and former Foreign Affairs Minister Joe Malanji for a known offense. SCC Public Relations Manager Timothy Mono says Mr. Lusambo was Wednesday arrested and charged with 4 counts of bribery, contrary to the laws of Zambia. So we cue into the story.
Commission premises where former Lusaka Province Minister Boma Lusambo and former Foreign Affairs Minister Joe Malanji were appearing before the Commission for questioning. And the Anti-Corruption Commission later arrested and charged former Lusaka Province Minister Boma Lusambo for electoral corruption. SCC Public Relations Manager Timothy Mono says Mr. Lusambo was arrested and charged with 4 counts of bribery, contrary to Section 81 of the Electoral Process Act No. 35 of 2016. The offences were committed between 1st April 2021 and 14th August 2021 in Ndola during the August 2021 general election campaign period.
In the first count, Lusambo, being a private person, namely an aspiring candidate for Kabushi constituency under the Patriotic Front ticket, jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown, corruptly offered 500 kwacha and actually gave 50 kwacha each to some United Party for National Development supporters, and actually promised 500 kwacha each, 2.5 liters of cooking oil and a bag of midday meal after the elections. In the second count, Lusambo has been arrested and charged for corruptly giving 1,300 kwacha to youths in Lubuto West to share. In the third count, Lusambo has been arrested and charged for corruptly giving 4,000 kwacha to youths from Kabushi Ward to share. In the fourth count, Lusambo has been arrested and charged for corruptly giving 300 kwacha each to some women of St. Kizito Catholic Church after attending Mass before the elections.
Meanwhile, the interrogation of Joe Malanji took more than 8 hours, and the Commission has not yet disclosed the reason why Mr. Malanji was summoned before the Commission. However, an inside source told this reporter that Mr. Malanji was arrested and later released after meeting the bond condition. And speaking shortly after their release, lawyer to the 2 accused former ministers Makebi Zulu could not disclose the reason why his client was arrested, but asked the journalist to find out from the Commission.
So what they require, it's not rocket science as to what the issue is about as of now. But we'll wait and see.
And efforts to get a comment from SCC Public Relations Officer Timothy Mono over the arrest of Mr. Malanji proved futile by broadcast time. However, this reporter will continue to follow the matter to its logical conclusion. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. That's a story we were zooming in pertaining to Joe Malanje and Bowman Lusambo, where they have been nabbed by the Anti-Corruption Commission. This is in a case in which, for instance, Bowman Lusambo is accused of electoral corruption, and this is during the general election in 2021 in the Kabushi constituency, where Mr. Lusambo is accused of bribing, among other institutions, the church and other groupings and other electorates within the Kabushi constituency. So they move by Mr. Lusambo, in which he engaged himself in corrupt practices such as bribing, according to the Anti-Corruption Commission, necessitated the nullification of the Kabushi election, and now we are going to have a by-election, which Mr. Lusambo himself won't be contesting because of the same charges, owing to the fact that he necessitated the election according to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, who have been caught in Article 74 rather. And so when we look at this issue, and therefore on the aspect of Joe Malanje, what was prominent was that during the August 2021 general election, he was involved in an issue surrounding not having the qualifications, in that he did not have the Grade 12 certificate.
Hello?
And that is among issues that also necessitated the issue of nullification of his seat when we were hearing that. But however, Mr. Malanje did come out later on to say he has a Grade 12 certificate and he wanted to produce it before the court. But however, it was rejected owing to the fact that the court said it could not take fresh evidence. So they had to go ahead and nullify his seat. So the two people won't be on the ballot for Kabushi and Kwacha constituencies respectively. So now let's also take in this call.
Hello.
Hello, you are through to Camnet TV.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Miss Banda calling from Malapodi.
Miss Banda from Malapodi. How is your morning?
Pardon?
How is your morning?
Oh, the morning is just okay.
Miss
Fine, and how is yours?
No, very fine, thank you.
And how are you, Mama? Okay.
I'm good, thank you. How are you, madam?
Miss,
I'm fine.
we would like to take your views, Miss Banda.
Pardon?
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would like to comment on one or two topics.
Okay.
First one, I want to comment on the turnout pathway. That is increasing. That is a strong good thing that we've been working for. We hope that we'll have the best of the economic reform this time. And this is a very good better pattern, because it will be paid at a very minimum interest and a very good tax rate. So that will come over. Then the other thing that I would like to comment on is about I know that when they try to before the court of law, they are going to work. These issues, there are people that come to go to because we know, everyone knows that if we decide in our position that one who goes the Bible is not eligible to protest their way. But some people will just trying to prove themselves, I don't know what is going to prove themselves. Some people will tell people to say there is no election like protest the God that tells the ballot paper. Where I get to do such things. This is what is so very. I think to some regard, I would graduate EXPO and hard-working president with the X7. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Banda, there from Marapodi, just sharing with us our perspective on the topic of discussion. You too can do the same by also calling the number that is on your screen so that you can contribute to this. At the end of the day, this package affects you and I, and we just have to see. We can add a comment to say, but for Ms. Banda, she suggested it's a good thing that has happened for Zambia, and that because it will help in economic recovery, and that has excited her. We also want to get your views regarding the same issue where Zambia will be getting the IMF package. Like I earlier mentioned, Katamanda, as the Minister of Finance will be addressing the nation through the media to just clarify on various issues pertaining to the IMF bailout package and what is involved in the package that Zambia has been given. What are some of the conditions that Zambia has to stick to? So we will be monitoring that so that we can get you informed, our dear viewers. This is quite an interesting issue that has happened. Each administration that wanted to govern Zambia has been trying to pursue this.
Why is it that these people are saying, you know, they are giving food to people? You think when people are doing some campaign, they should not eat in the field. It's why I don't understand why they are just pulling them here and there. So I think the government should look into this matter, because now we are just hearing this and this instead of seeing more development in our country, but we are just seeing that. I don't know what is going on.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I did not get your name and where you're calling us from. You just started talking.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We wanted to know your name, sir, before you go.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now we're zooming the story pertaining to the Human Rights Commission has proposed that all cases, including murder, become bondable as well as bearable in order to avoid the prolonged detention of suspects before trial. Commission Chairperson Madford Mwandenga has suggested that courts must be allowed to make their own discretion to either grant or deny bail. Let's get to hear that story. Access to justice has remained a challenge in the country, and the Human Rights Commission has expressed concern that the trend has continued, thus undermining Zambia's human rights record. Issues pertaining to prolonged detention before trial remain unattended to, and the former Patriotic Front Deputy Secretary General Mombi Piri continues to be the example of this injustice. After spending half a year in a correctional facility without trial, Ms. Piri is scheduled to appear in court on October 3, 2022. And speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Wednesday, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Madford Mwandenga says through their inspections, it was observed that various detention and correctional facilities in all the 10 provinces have challenges to access justice.
Law enforcement agents are urged to stop the practice of arresting and detaining suspects for purposes of undertaking investigations, because it is unlawful and a violation of the right to liberty and other human rights. Further, the Commission wishes to advise that the movement of dockets between the respective law enforcement agents and the National Prosecution Authority, which is the NPA, as well as granting of consent to prosecute, must be improved and expedited. One of the reasons given to the Commission for delayed prosecution of some cases is lack of thorough and complete investigations by some law enforcement agencies.
Mr. Mwandenga has since proposed that all cases, including murder, must become bondable and bailable in order to avoid prolonged detention of suspects.
As a long-term measure, the Commission proposes to make all cases bailable so that the respective courts of law will make their own discretions to either grant or deny bail based on the merits of each case. The mandatory proscribed bonds and bail for capital offenses of murder, treason, and aggravated robbery is susceptible to abuse and contributes to gross violation of a wide range of human rights through prolonged detention without trial.
The Commission also called on the judiciary to improve on justice delivery in the country. Thank you for staying with us. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and my co-host, Amazing Katamanda.
Yes.
Interesting. You heard that story from the Human Rights Commission where they're asking to say murder on all cases should become bondable or bailable, where you just, even if no matter how grave the crime is, you should be able to access police bond, and as well as if it's at court level, you're able to get a bail. So now, what do you think of that?
I'm not in support of that, because I think we are going to increase a lot of murder cases, because people will just know, okay, I can kill anytime and then I'll get a bond. So I feel it's not a good idea, but anyway, it's the ACC, they do what they feel is right, but I feel like they should have. Yeah,
the Human Rights Commission.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let's, if you look at what they're proposing, it's quite, in fact, they even suggested that it is among the long-term measures to make sure that the murder or all cases become bailable, or you are able to access a police bond. However, this is a contentious issue, because I understand that it's quite delicate, in that the others have been the view to say someone takes someone's life and you treat them with kid gloves. It does not deter would-be offenders. So I think this is quite an interesting debate that we are going to be engaging a lot of Zambians to get their perspective on. So we pick this call. You are through to Camnet TV.
Hello.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast.
Yes, good morning.
All right. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, I'm talking about the issue of Mr. Malani. Because Mr. Malani, I'm blaming the constitution on this time. We don't have a state law. Because Mr. Malani, this election was verified in not before come to High Court. Then he failed to produce a critical certificate. Then he did when I find the election. This time we appeal to the Constitution Court again, he failed to produce a critical. Then after verifying this election again, he went ahead as I have a critical. Why we failed to produce a critical in court? Where is not a grade 12 to go to want to produce that day? So I'm trying to understand this, because they are trying to waste our time, waste our money. If you have a grade 12, why is you to get a grade 12? Go to court to show a grade 12. I have a grade 12. Then if we don't have a time to waste the money, you should have a grade 12. I think I'm agreeing to the government to work with the law. When someone is so allowed to it should be directed and the people will be because you get to have the time to talk to you.
Thank you for your contribution, sir. Yeah, he was just commenting on Mr. Malanji to say you say you have a certificate, but why didn't you do it instantly?
Yeah, like why didn't you? Goodness. Oh, I guess it also brings me back to the human rights, commission, because if we are going to be promoting people to get whenever they're involved in certain issues, and then you tell them to say no, they can pay, and then they go home scot-free. We're promoting a lot of such cases. People will just be doing things anyhow because they know. I'm going to pay, and I'll go home, and I'll be going home from home to court or whatnot. So it's better. I know they're trying to promote human rights, but I don't know. My thoughts are just let's not do it.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting issue because when you talk about even the fight against corruption, as others have been of the view that the fight against corruption has not yielded the much needed positive results because the laws are not stiff that govern corruption in Zambia.
Yeah.
So this is on account that it is a bailable offense at the moment. You can get a police bond. And others we have spoken to, for instance, like the Third Liberation Movement president, have suggested otherwise. So anyway, I'll continue with my thought on the other side. Let me just pick this call. Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, my name is Camnet.
All right. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Congo.
Sikongo.
Yes, Western.
All right, interesting. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
No, actually, it's not the contribution that is the question, sir. About the fellow house, when you started to work out this fellow house, I think the people they are given as the loan for paying or like the loan which we got from here. Are these people that are forgiven us and then they are using us to do it?
Okay, I'll try to provide guidance on that. I'll give. Yeah, you can stick to the program. Then I'll guide on that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Quite an interesting perspective is asking on the bailout package and what it means. Quite interesting views because he understands the Zambia's debt burden. So, sir, the issue is that Zambia was overwhelmed with debt. Under the previous administration, Zambia's debt position worsened, and it was unable to pay its debt accordingly, based on the agreement it had with various creditors. Now, what happened is that we were even defaulting on other debt. This is because we had not even we borrowed the resources but did not invest them in sectors that can enable us to generate enough resources to be able to pay back. So that was the problem Zambia had. So when it's like you, Katamanda, with your business of selling bags, where you borrow 50,000, then you're supposed to pay back, let's say 70,000, and you get that money and eat it, instead of getting the bags. So how do you expect to pay that 50,000? Or you invest the money in something that does not generate enough revenue for you to be able to pay back. So you end up mismanaging your entire capital and failing to pay back the 70,000 you're supposed to pay to someone who has given you the money. So we were in that position as a country. So Zambia has been borrowing money from various stakeholders, including external private lenders. However, the debt has been expensive. And with the economic challenges that Zambia had, we saw the economy performing badly in that it meant that our exchange rate was also not doing fine. It meant that if you were supposed to pay 70,000, for instance, for example, you will no longer pay 70,000 because the interest rate has increased. So you're supposed to pay 100,000. So Zambia was choking with debt. And in order to get everything right, Zambia had to get the IMF package. So how it was is that Zambia, if it did not enter into an IMF package, the problem was that those people we borrowed money from were going to be demanding their money. And their money, when they're demanding their money, if you cannot pay, what do I get for if you cannot pay me my money?
I either get something valuable from
equivalent to my money. So someone would come to say, okay, Zambia, you're failing to pay me. I'm going for Zamtel, it will be mine. Until I get my money, then we will give it back to you. Someone would say, okay, I'll be running the airport. it is mine for now until you will pay me my money.
Yes.
So, so those are the consequences that we were going to be facing as Zambia.
Yeah.
So even the PF themselves, they hinted they were working on an IMF package. And the UPND administration was also working on the IMF package. Now, the IMF package is like an insurator or a surety in that it helps you to renegotiate with those people you are owing.
Okay.
To say, no, Zambia for now, they are not able to pay, but we are working on their economic fundamentals so that they can get everything right and be able to pay you. So that's the IMF. It's like a referee for now. So they come in. If you see the money they are injecting, about 1.3 billion US dollars. So if you look at that money, that's quite a huge amount of money.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So if you are going to you have to get everything right. The IMF will impose some restrictions so that you work on your economy and make sure that things are functioning as according. So now, as things are functioning, you need now to start making enough revenue. They also advantages that they give us the holiday to stop servicing the debt. So at the moment, while Zambia has been negotiating, it hasn't been able to get the debt. So the 1.3 billion US dollars comes to just cushion us as a country, as we work on our fundamentals, so that we can run other necessities that we need for this economy to function. So that's how this IMF package works. It is just an insulator, and that the government will be restricted on some certain spending. They will no longer be spending recklessly as in the past. So they have to just make sure that they spend responsibly to make sure that economic fundamentals are worked on. It is no wonder the Bank of Zambia, the Minister of Finance, have to implement some certain measures. But also, it does not mean, like you was asking, it does not mean that they are forgiving us on that debt which we borrowed for now. That it means that instead of you paying today, they are saying probably, okay, pay us in 2025 or 2026 or 2027. So you can negotiate. Yes, we still have to pay back, but they are giving us a leeway so that we can work on economic fundamentals to be able to be in a position to pay back. So that's what it does. But the Ministry of Finance today will be giving us the specifics and the conditions that this IMF package comes with. Sometimes these packages in the past were coming with conditions such as Zambia being able to they'll tell you to say you can no longer finance FISIP because it's a consumption arrangement. So you have to reduce on financing FISIP so that this money can be saved and used on this. So those are some of the restrictions that would come, for instance, in the past. So, but for now, we don't know what this package contains. But it does not mean, yes, we'll be addressing us on some of the measures, economic reforms that they'll be undertaking to ensure that they just get everything right. It is painful, but it is also a path towards economic recovery.
No, the way you have explained it, I think, me personally, I do have an understanding, and I hope that the viewers at home also have an understanding that we are bad. We should be on the lookout for our 19 hours news, 19
exactly.
News, so that we get more understanding on what the Ministry of Finance is planning on doing, or what the IMF package is coming with.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you are getting the concept, I can tell. And yeah, we were talking about the issue. We were talking about that issue on MADA before that. So we were explaining, Katamanda, that it's going to be a debatable issue. Yes, because for you are opposing automatically.
I'm opposing.
Yeah, but you see, for me, I feel there's also other ways that you can make sure that cases are attended to and disposed quickly and on time. And I still believe that there are still cases that are so grave that they shouldn't be on bond. Like, for instance, murder.
Like a murder case.
So, yeah, so others have been of the view that sometimes these people who commit a crime, they are arrested. They know that I'll come out and they'll come and tamper with evidence. Others go and tamper with the witnesses.
Exactly.
So, those are issues. What story do we have still there, Katamanda?
Okay, so the Ministry of Health and Social Security has suspended workers at the True Fiber Company Limited in Makeni area with immediate effect for obstructing an officer from conducting a labor inspection. Speaking during the inspections, Principal Labor Office Joseph Makenda revealed that the company blocked the labor officers from accessing the workplace and directed employees not to cooperate with the inspectors, contrary to the laws of Zambia. So let's go into that story.
About 2 million people in Zambia have a form of disability, according to the World Health Organization, meaning that these need various equipment to help them with mobility, from crutches to wheelchairs. The prices of many of these items have, however, remained beyond the reach of many persons with disabilities in Zambia, as these are already lagging behind in accessing economic activities due to social inequalities that have existed for a long time. This is a group of 10 people from Trinity Ministries in Luansha district on the Copperbelt province who took the task of walking from Dola to Lusaka with an aim of fundraising and raising awareness on the various challenges that this group of people face. Leader of the group, Reverend Moses Ngalasia, who is depending on crutches to walk, says he and his team, which began their work on 9th August 2022, are determined to send a strong message. He adds that this message includes the need to subsidize most of this mobility equipment, stating that some wheelchairs are fetching for as much as 7,500 kwacha each.
They need so much to be subsidized, because one wheelchair like the one we bought at Manda, which we donated to a guy as we have been flagged off from Dollar, it was 7.5. Okay, the pair of crutches, the one I'm using, is 3.5. Most of the physically challenged are unemployed, and most of them have been abandoned both by their nuclear family and extended families. And where can they get money to buy wheelchairs? So that has become really a challenge for many people who are disabled. And they are living under very deplorable conditions. Very deplorable conditions.
Meanwhile, Director of Social Welfare at the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, Nelson Nyango, who received the group, has urged stakeholders to help in buying wheelchairs and other equipment for persons with disabilities.
In your delegation, I hear you are about 9 and you have walked over 320 kilometers from Dola to here. As a ministry, we appreciate your gesture to raise funds for purchase of assistive devices for those people that are afflicted with a number of challenges, who are first in their homes, who can't move because of disabilities, and that they lack these assistive devices. I think at this age and era now, I want to support your appeal to all the companies that you have written to come on board to support our colleagues. I think disability now is no more an inability. I think the technology has innovated in whatever form of disability one has. I think some kind of assistive device can be devised for them.
He has further applauded them for their act, stating that it is only through such initiatives that equality for all Zambians can be achieved. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We're very sorry about that.
How do we do that? So I'll ask the officers, I think, to take charge with the offense of obstruction, because we cannot continue. With this kind of behavior. We know it is your premises, but the moment you have visitors, especially officers that come, you cannot be behaving like this.
We are very sorry, sir. I know. The first time we promise that it will never happen again. Please.
In any case, unless
please.
This is growing now. Every time we send officers in the field, people release dogs, others even brandish guns on officers.
Yeah, I was compelled to laugh at that Chinese investor. It seems unconcerned. If whatever was happening, it was like he's minding his business.
Yeah,
he's busy.
he's just busy something else.
Was it probably because of the language barrier or something?
I think so.
Like,
Because if
what
he
was
was
I talking
understanding, maybe he would have, concentrated or something. But there he just was in his own world.
Yeah, there you have it. So that was quite an interesting story from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, where that company was penalized for obstructing a labor officer, and we saw they were also penalized for various issues, including failure to provide personal protective equipment, PPEs, and also the sanitary conditions of the environment were bad, and we saw the Labour Ministry cracking a whip there to ensure that sanity is restored. In as much as you are investing in the country, it is important that you follow the country's labor laws so that you can be you cannot be at loggerheads with law enforcement agencies or the Ministry of Labour itself. So we just hope that it's a learning process for other investors to ensure that they just do everything right. And just one of our stories that we are winding up with as we're zooming in the headlines is the Copper Queens striker Ochumba Lobanji insists that the team is focused enough to win the 2022 Hollywood Bates COSAFA Women's Championship currently underway in South Africa. Let's zoom in that story and we'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet.
Nayo hapa ili high, ili very high morale, so ija morale yetu tukanaye ku Africa Cup ndi morale ya minitishita sana ya metikali nayo nakunda tu ina cup hapa tournament there is very important please. It's part of the preparation for the World Cup, so if you can give me your summit zambo there the cup effort and the promise of tea cup wave no matter what fresh it bwele nayo tisaile cup but supporting tunakocha support yanu ndiweza lengisa kutitete cup.
And that's our Copper Queens right there assuring us that they are going to win. I don't know, Mr. Soko, do you think we can win with the way we are going as the women? Because I have seen the women have really improved. They're really putting in so much effort. So do you think that they are right by saying they are going to bring that cup home?
Yeah, I think if you ask me, I think the team showed tremendous resilience during the Africa Cup, and most of the players will be playing in the same tournament, so the COSAFA tournament. So that we had more of them were local players. So if you see, the majority of the players who played in the Africa Cup will be part of that team. That is. Part of that team that is playing the COSAFA, and today they'll be playing against Namibia in the group B opener at 15:30 hours. So we are going to watch that game, and my thinking is that it's a team that is capable of winning the COSAFA championship because of the tremendous experience they have at the moment. They have enough experience, having participated in the Olympics, having participated in the Africa Cup. They have all participated in various local friendly matches. I think the squad has gelled enough to be able to bring honors.
Oh, we'll be looking forward to them, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that this time around they bring the cup, and I hope that we're not going to have situations that we had with the Africa Cup, the challenges that we had. I don't know if you remember what happened during the African for the women.
When you talk about the loss against South Africa?
Like against South Africa, just the game against South Africa.
Oh, it brought a lot of issues.
To that again.
No, I think this time we need to be clinical and beat them before matters escalate. Yeah. I just hope that we can we don't experience that. But largely that match was blamed on poor officiating. And we just hope that there will be an improvement this time around. Yeah, now this is the time when we have to excuse the screens. You've been watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and my co-host, Amazing Katamanda. Until next week when we come back with an interesting episode of the Camnet Breakfast Wednesday and Thursday edition on governance and policy. And tomorrow, join Prudence Jota with Business for Breakfast as she takes you around various issues, including the detailed analysis pertaining to the IMF bailout package and what is in stake for Zambia. So until next week, when me and my other co-host Sharon Karimbula will be back, and we're just hoping to maintain Katamanda amongst the group. We do the triple threat.
We hope so.
We hope so. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and we also value your contribution to the program. And those of you who managed to call, we value your support to the program as usual. Stay tuned and keep it on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.